gentlemen, hello and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algérie. I'm your host, Maysa Doumaz. To the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, extends a condolences message to the families of the martyrs killed in a clash with a terrorist group in the border strip of Ingazam. Vaccination campaigns against the coronavirus pandemic are underway across the national territory to jab citizens and encourage the hesitating people to do likewise. And we shed light by the end of this news bulletin on two famous traditional Algerian garments in Oulad Nail in the Jilfa province. Those were today's headlines. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, extended a message of condolences to the families of the martyrs, the Second Lieutenant Marabah ad-Din Sidhom and the Brigadier Nassim bin Aliwa, who fell in the field of honor following a clash with a terrorist group on the border strip in the region of Hassi Tiririn in the operational sector of Ain Gazzam belonging to the 6th Military Region. President Tebboune said, quote, "In this painful ordeal, I present to the families of the deceased as well as the National People's Army my sincere condolences and my feelings of compassion, praying Allah Almighty to welcome them into His vast paradise. To Allah we belong and to Him we shall return." End of quote. As part of the fight against terrorism and following a clash with a terrorist group on the border strip in the Hassi Tiririn region in Ingazam operational sector belonging to the 6th Military Region, two soldiers fell on the field of honor on Thursday. The Second Lieutenant Marabah ad-Din Sidhom and the Brigadier Nassim bin Aliwa, according to a press release from the Ministry of National Defense. Operation crowned with of two terrorists and the seizing of a heavy machine gun caliber 12.7 millimeters, two Kalashnikov types of machine guns, and a quantity of ammunitions of different calibers. The Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Lieutenant General Saeed Shangriha, offered on behalf of all the personnel of the ANP his sincere condolences and his deep compassion to the families of the deceased, praying Allah Almighty to welcome them into His vast paradise. To Allah we belong and to Him we shall return. To COVID-19 updates now, 1,817 new confirmed cases, 1,055 recoveries, and 6 deaths were recorded during the last 24 hours in Algeria, according to the Health Ministry. Following the government's instructions, vaccination operations are underway, particularly at the level of national education sector, as it is the case in the province of Tibissa. More details with Rania Al-Bahri.
Professor Malik Nabil hesitated for a long time before taking the vaccine. He finally received his first shot of anti-COVID-19 vaccine, motivated by the number of cases of contamination in his establishment. At the beginning, I wasn't at all convinced by the vaccination, but seeing my colleagues seriously affected by this virus, I went directly to get vaccinated. We observed some hesitation among the education staff at the start of vaccination campaign, but now awareness campaign helped us too much. Aware of the necessity to be vaccinated, the teachers of Sharia municipality are heading in a massive way for vaccination centers where all conditions are available for the smooth running of this operation.
We are in direct contact with the students, so we are obliged to get vaccinated. We have set up 25 screening and monitoring units at the level of the province. We have identified more than 56% of people vaccinated.
The medical staff in charge of the vaccination campaign was honored by the Education Directorate as a vibrant tribute to their great efforts.
From the extreme east to the extreme south of the country and precisely Tlemcen to shed light on the vaccination campaign dictated to the National Education Staff. Rania Al-Bahri once again.
A vast national vaccination campaign for the education staff is going on, as here in Tlemcen province, more precisely in Bukwiran Mimoun High School, the objective is to achieve herd immunity and to resume classes in good conditions. The only way to protect yourself is vaccination and to achieve herd immunity. What encouraged me to vaccinate myself is the critical situation in which we are now. The Health Directorate has made available to schools 500 doses of vaccine. It's worth recalling that the Central Pharmacy have more than 20,000 doses of vaccine. This campaign has been launched by the public authorities to stem this pandemic. Today we are at Bukwiran High School located in border area. We are carrying our fourth vaccination campaign for the benefit of employees of the education sector to preserve the health of educational personnel and students as well. According to specialists, vaccination remains the best way to stem the spread of this virus, particularly in schools.
Across the national territory, a campaign was kicked off to raise awareness on the importance of vaccination against COVID-19 throughout mosques. This was the case at Al-Sahaba Mosque in Bashar province. More details with Manal Ammari.
The Friday prayer sermon at the Al-Sahaba Mosque in Bashar province witnessed the participation of an imam, doctor, and an element of civil defense to take advantage of the influx of congregants so as to remind them of the importance of respecting barrier measures as well as vaccination against COVID-19 to overcome the current health crisis. Strong-minded believers accept these diseases with consent and contentment. We must believe in destiny and never go against it. Some of the people who never contracted the virus may not respect these measures. As for those of us in the field of civil defense, we see contaminated people struggling every day. The vaccines are now available to all by the state, with various equipment at our disposal. We have to face this virus alongside them, otherwise it will never be stemmed. These people gave the necessary advice and guidelines according to their specialties and competences, from religious, scientific, and social aspects. Those praying at this mosque expressed their agreement with this sermon. This initiative came within the framework of the national campaign to raise awareness against COVID-19, under the theme, of course, we're all against COVID, for it is the duty of everyone to stem its spread.
Located in Soqahras province is the very first factory for the production of central heating radiators in the country, which made it possible to hire several young people from the region by expanding into the field of subcontracting. Manal Ammari once again.
The very first central heating manufacturing plant in Algeria is based in Soqahras province. It produces over 120 units per day, in accordance with international standards, thanks to high-precision technology.
We did not have these type of products in Algeria before. We had to import them from China, Italy, France, and several other countries. But now we only import the raw material. The rest of the process is 100% Algerian. We would like to further develop this industry and attract investors.
In addition to the manufacture of radiators, this factory is specialized in producing car spare parts, facing a fierce competition against the imported ones.
We manufacture spare parts here, but what hinders our activity in the marketing of our products the most is import. We manufacture up to 30% of spare parts in Algeria. We are now calling on the state to stop importing these products.
This company, which has been in business for a year now, is gaining ground on the national market and aspires to become a pioneer in this field, with products made in Algeria worthy of being sold in the international market.
The year of 2022 will be the year of economy, as the president has stated on several occasions. Important measures have recently been announced so as to unfreeze projects and boost investment. Several campaigns are in production phase, as it is the case in this factory in Oran, which launched its range of wooden furniture. More details with Leticia Sadqawi.
After removing all the administrative and bureaucratic obstacles, this furniture manufacturing factory finally launches its production in the region of Al Karma in Iran, with the aim of participating in the development of the local and national economy.
We have obtained the necessary authorizations to start our activity. We have 2 production lines. The first manufactures wooden furniture to equip kitchens and offices. It is equipped with state-of-the-art technology. The second manufactures doors with a production capacity of 2,000 units per day. Once the design is finished, it is directly transferred to CNC furniture manufacturing machines. The final products are in line with the international norms.
This investment includes those who have benefited from the unfreezing operation and the granting of temporary operating permits.
36 investment projects have not been launched despite being ready after they unfreezed the project recently. 14 are already in exploitation phase after being granted the necessary authorization.
Backing investors and easing the administrative procedure is one of the state's priorities to revive the national economy.
The participants in the final session of the African Regional Conference, held via video conferencing, confirmed that they will vote next week on revoking the Zionist entity's observer status, which goes against the UA rules and the African people's values. The Moroccan occupation forces carried out new attacks against the activist Sultana Khaya. The Sahrawi militant was attacked at home in the occupied city of Boujdour. Several members of Sultana Khaya's family were also injured during this brutal operation. The Moroccan occupation forces also prevented Aminatu Haidar from traveling to Spain in the airport of the occupied city of Laayoune under the pretext that the activist didn't have a Moroccan health pass, refusing to recognize Euro-Spanish health pass in her position. Aminatu Haidar said that she noticed on her arrival to the airport a heavy presence of Moroccan security forces to prevent her from traveling. No one can argue today that Al-Qashabiyya and Al-Barnous are authentic garments of Wulad Nile's heritage. It is the trademark of Al-Mas'ad tribe south of Jilfa. More details with Leticia Sadqawi.
A craft transmitted from generation to generation, the making of Qashabiyya and Barnous, 2 genuine Algerian garments, occupy a very important place among the women of Wuld Nile, who continue to make them in an artisanal way, a craft carefully safeguarded and which represents the authentic trademark of the tribe of Mas'ad, south of Jilfa province. We hope to preserve this craft activity belonging to our ancestors for future generations by transmitting this know-how to our daughters. It is a heritage that we want to keep at all costs. The practice of this activity also ensures sustainability of this profession despite its modest profitability. We took this job out of love. Today, with age, I can neither get up nor move. I spent 60 years of my life with crossed legs weaving Barnous and Qashabiyya. The making of a woolen Barnous requires orderly and successive stages, the main one being the good selection of wool. Once it's cleaned and spun, begins the stage of weaving, sewing, and embroidery to finally achieve a high-quality Barnous, symbol of nobility and virility. Barnous and Qashabiyya are a cultural legacy that must be preserved. We organized for the 2nd year the Fair of Weaving the Qashabiyya and Barnous, a local trade fair that we hope to give it national dimension. A very coveted traditional garment in the region of Jilfa, but also an ancestral legacy well preserved by the craftsmen of Mas'ad, who vowed to preserve it for the upcoming generations.
That was it for our news edition. Thanks for tuning in to our program. Good night.